So what did you think? The first one was the Marmite one, right? So I love it. It's one of my favorite campaigns. What did you think? I think it's brilliant. I think it addresses, I think it's very category breaking for a spread, savory spread. I think it addresses an insight. What is the insight? What do you think? The insight is that it is product insight. Well, there are a number of insights actually, but the main insight that drove this campaign was that people buy Marmite, and unless they're an absolute sort of Marmite addict, they use it every now and then, and it tends to sit at the back of the cupboard. I know mine does. Even though I love it, I just don't think about it very often. So the whole idea here was to get people to think about it, and then there was this kind of this hilarious thing where they put two different things together, which is that the Marmite is actually like a neglected pet and it has to be removed and given to a loving home. They actually got into a bit of trouble because people said they were sort of spoofing the rescue social workers or, abandoned animals, and then they had to make a donation to some charity. But it's a very clever campaign because what it does and set up, and they're still running this campaign many years later, it set up the idea of love it or hate it, just don't forget it. And what's brave about Marmite as well is this, they actively will say that people hate our brand. There are people that hate it. So even that little boy's face at the end, it's like, oh, what is this? So very, very clever, very, very, very good. Does it demonstrate the brand benefit? Well, yes, because it is a polarizing taste, but people who love it absolutely love it, and people who hate it absolutely hate it. So, what is the brand benefit? It's a savory spread that's not for everybody, but for those that it is, it's amazing. This campaign is a good example of a big idea because it's been running for years and years and years and years. And just recently, they had a thing which was sort of determining whether couples are actually really suited for each other. And they looked at these DNA results like 23andMe that you get in certain countries, or you can go and you can have your DNA analyzed. And they did DNA tests where they I don't even know if it was real or not, but they made it sciencey, where it could tell that a couple, whether one or both liked Marmite or had the genetic predisposition to like Marmite or not. And they were shocked. They're like, oh no, I can't believe you're a Marmite lover. And it was just really funny. So the thing about a big idea is it can last for years and years and years and flow into so many different things. Okay, good ad. Next. What was this? This was a mess. Why was it a mess? What has it got going for it, right? Let's think about what's going for it. This was the ad that Facebook made to launch themselves on when they were launching on the stock exchange in New York. What's good about it? Facebook is about connection. Can see how chairs around a table is a thing that connects people. Doorbells, I don't know, tree, I don't know what happened. Essentially, does it demonstrate a benefit of the brand? Yes, kind of. It starts losing me when it goes into the universe because there's too much. Simply, the execution is great, very nice. It's a bit manifesto like, but there's nothing wrong with it. Filmed nicely, looks a bit stock footagey, but it's well executed. The music's good, the editing is good. There are simply too many ideas here. Each one of these things could have turned this into a good, long-lasting campaign. But to smush them all together, and then you're in the universe and you're feeling lost and alone, and you're also on a basketball court or in a stadium, and then you're at the White House, and also trees. I don't know. So the feedback here would be, I think we need to go back to the core of what the brand idea is. What is the idea here? We are demonstrating how Facebook helps connect people by showing different things. It's too show and tell, and there's too much going on. Pick one, pick two. But to have 47, it just doesn't work. It's a complete mess. It got universally panned when it came out. People laughed a lot. And I think the biggest thing was, is it relevant to the brand? Is it relevant to the consumer? It's not how I feel about Facebook. There was a beautiful campaign that Gatorade did many years ago, and the insight to it was kind of a bit Nike, you know, you kind of maybe peak at being an athlete when you're at school. If you play school sports and you're really good at them. Safe to say I did not peak at being an athlete at school. But you kind of, when you get older, you look back on those days and you wish that you could rekindle that level of fitness and that level of athleticism. And Gatorade wanted to do that, and they created this amazing contest where they took a college football game that had ended in a draw, like 12 years before, 15 years before, and they recreated it. And it was just this beautiful thing about memory and connection and friendships and reliving your youth. And I feel like it's such an emotional campaign. I feel Facebook could have done something in that space, like this ability to connect people on a really emotional level, because it does. I do not think of it as a chair or a doorbell. I do not. So yeah, a very interesting one. I will, at the end of this section, I will put the Gatorade campaign in just so you can see. It's a really, really beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay, moving on. This is an evaluation methodology I developed. So when you look at how to evaluate and give feedback, and you can share this with your clients too, it's helpful to have a list of things in your head or on a piece of paper that you can run through. Now, I've given you the 6 things. I've given you the Lurie's outline, told you what a bad ad is. I developed this because I wanted something kind of more robust. And I took it off the idea of ROI. There was a chap who ran a site called Ad Cracker, which sadly is no longer. And he had this ROI methodology, and I expanded on it a little bit. So mine is more than ROI, it's RROII. So R squared, OI squared. And then ROI potential. So if we break it down, and I'll show you how I use it. I don't always use it actually as a spreadsheet, but it's in my head. But sometimes you can use it as a spreadsheet, and I'll show you how. So first thing, relevance. First thing, relevance. This is brand relevance. And what relevance does is it helps us put the consumer in the picture. It also helps us make sure that the brand plays an active part in the story. So I had a client once who said that we told great stories, but not brand stories. And what this does is it makes sure that the brand has a right to be in the story, that if the brand actually solves a problem or a need within the story. So relevance, does it show how the brand solves a need or a problem, or clearly link the brand with the consumer insight? Resonance, does it address an insight or a truth, and does it speak in consumer language? Does it resonate? Is there an emotional something going on, right? Originality, does it feel fresh and new? Do I feel like I've seen this thing a million times before? Impact. Does it have stopping power? Idea. Does it have a powerful idea at its core? ROI, return on investment potential. We don't always know this if we're looking at ads cold, but in real world, does it meet the objectives of the brief, and do we think it's actually going to deliver? So then what I do, I've taken it through, and I'll put this here for you to download. I've created a little grid for it, and I've said, okay, let's score this thing. And it's amazing, it works so well. Let's score this thing. Okay, if it's relevant, does it show how the brand solves a need or a problem? And I'm going to give it a 3. Or resonance, I'm going to give it a 5. It's going to punch out a score at the bottom. And I'm going to show you something just about the weightings in a minute. High score is 5, great score is 4, plus good but could improve is 3, lowest acceptable score is 3.3. Below that, what can we tweak? And then below 2, let's start again. What I've done is I have weighted the big idea and the resonance higher, because that is how you get through to people. That's how people will actually spend more time with your work. So before I move on, what I want to say to you, and I'm going to put a little interactive thing in so that you can play with it. If you look at the ones that you've just looked at, and I'll stop. Well, no, I won't stop. I'm just going to put a few more slides on evaluation. But what I'll do after this is I'll just show you how I would have scored Facebook and Marmite, and I will put a little interactive tool that you can actually play with. So what's lovely about this sort of thing is you can say then, look, I mean, just running through it, let's look at the Facebook one. Okay, let's have a look. I'm not going to enter the scores here because this is not live, but does it show how the brand solves a need or a problem? I'd give it a 2. Does it address an insight, speaking consumer language? No, there's too much going on. 1. Does it feel fresh and new? 1. Does it have stopping power? -5. Does it have a powerful idea at its core? Possibly, but there's too many. There's possibly an idea around people have a need to feel connected. People are feeling disconnected. There is possibly a powerful idea there. It's probably the highest score I'd give them. Does it meet the objectives of brief? Well, we don't really know, but what we know they wanted to do was say Facebook's an amazing company, and they got panned. So I'd say no. So they will score very, very low. If I look at the Marmite one, does it show how the brand solves a need or a problem? The relevance. So yes, kind of. It is true that it gets forgotten. I'd give that about a 3. Resonance, does it address an insight, truth, speak? And the reason we think it's kind of funny is that actually aligning it with kind of an abandoned, dog or whatever, neglected dog, kind of makes us laugh. So does it speak in consumer language? Does it address the truth? Definitely a 5. Does it feel or a 4? Does it feel fresh and new? 5. Does it have stopping power? 5. Does it have a powerful idea at its core? Yes. Does it meet the objectives of brief? Well, it was extremely successful. So anyway, so it's very, very good. Now I just want to run through this one. So this is Julian Cole's, one of Julian Cole's tools. His thing is now called Strategy Finishing School. It was called Planning Dirty. He divides up evaluation into 3 areas: head, heart, and body, or torso. And in the head, he says, what's the problem? Who's the work for? What do we know about them? Strategy, how we plan to reach them. Concept, the creative idea. Medium, what channel we're using. Message, what's the takeaway? Content, what are the creative details? What are the style, tone, and voice? How it all works together. And then tiny errors and bugs, the tiny concrete problems that you really get to at the very, very last minute. So that's kind of cute. The important thing is, it's not a checklist. So you don't go in with your flip chart and you go ding, 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 ding. You can do that to get yourselves to a point where you know how to give feedback, but advertising is not paint by numbers. Sometimes things won't always score the way they need to, and they're still really effective. But what this does is gives you the tools and the language to give concrete feedback. It takes it away from I like it, I don't like it. It takes it into, you know what, I think there's a really powerful idea at the heart of this, but I don't think we're executing it in a fresh and interesting way. How great is that feedback? That's so great because you're giving direction. You're not breaking down, say, do you like it? You're saying, I feel that the idea is powerful, it's fresh and memorable, but I don't feel the brand is as relevant as it could be in the story. Boom. Interesting feedback. Try it. It's really useful. Finally, on this section, top tips, be gentle with good ideas. They are fragile. It's okay to feel uncomfortable. Our brain is wired to feel anxiety when we see something new. And as my ex-partner used to say, surprise, delight, and scare me so that I can surprise and delight the consumer who has nothing to be scared of. Remember that our consumers are watching Netflix, they are watching TikTok, they're on YouTube, they're looking for entertainment, they want to be entertained. If we bore them to tears, we are not doing our job. Our job is to give them something amazing and something that will stop them in their tracks and something that will really resonate with them. So yeah, have fun with that.